Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
So,
welcome back, everyone. Well, just when you think you've seen everything and you know everything that goes on in the area, you find out, once again, you're a little late to the party, because for 34 years, right in Lake George, right at Shepherd Park, every fall, we have one heck of a jazz weekend. And the person responsible for that, and his lawyer, that's a private joke, the
attorney, please.
This is Paul Pines. Welcome, Paul, and Jay Hunter. Welcome, Jay. Very nice to have you here. I'm very taken with this. You know, anybody can call some artists, put together a weekend, put together a festival, but there's, if it's done well, especially in jazz, innovation takes center stage, and that requires a lot of thinking and also a lot of knowledge, and you've got the background. So tell me about this. First, you want to know something? Tell us about the club.
well, I cut my teeth on jazz in addition to attending jazz concerts. I had a jazz club in New York in the 70s called the Tin Palace. It was on Bowery and 2nd Street.
Wow, what a hood.
And at that time, it was not gentrified as it is today.
No, it was not.
It was a real hood.
That's right.
And we had to really beat the street back from the doorway and make a safe environment. But we did it all, and over time, what started as no man's land became a place where limousines pulled up from all over the place. We were fortunate to be situated right in the middle of an energy in the music that was growing and emerging and spilled into our room and through our room and subsequently out into the world.
Yeah.
So I heard and learned a lot.
I bet. Now you took that, well said, by the way, you took that, he was up in Lake George region, he had written a novel, a book, and I don't know if it's a novel or not.
It was a thriller based on my time on the Lower East Side in the jazz world.
Boy, you could do that. That sounds like a
That's what it
subject
was.
worth pursuing, right? And then, of course, got hooked on the region like many of us do. And before long, he and John Strong, Lake George Arts Project, thought, you know what? Let's take a swing at putting jazz in Shepherd Park, right in the middle of Lake George.
Right.
Innovation is a word that you use a lot when we were talking before.
Right.
That's pretty central to your thinking about booking this thing, right? Putting it together.
Well, you know, I book it the way I booked my club.
Yeah.
Again, a musical vision. What do you want out of the? What's the mission? My mission was to enlarge the audience, enlarge the consciousness, enlarge the experience, so that you're not just recycling big names, people that you can hear all over the place. You're being investigative, explorative. You're taking risks, and you're combining groups that point in certain directions. The excitement for me is one of learning and discovery, and every time I book a festival, I hope that people will learn, hear, and experience things they haven't experienced before.
Well, you know what? Any of you who watch the program know that we had a campaign all summer called Art as Language. Well, what Paul is talking about is exactly that. This is all expression, right? You know, you said something, Jay, that stuck in my mind. A lot of festivals are built on the plan of, hey, let's fill all the seats. Let's make sure all the seats are filled, right?
Yeah.
You were talking before. And when you start down a path like this, that's when it really gets interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely, I call Lake George the anti-festival because, you know, Paul is one of the few promoters, not just of festivals, anywhere, that he assumes that his audience is of above average intelligence and can handle whatever it is he throws at them. And he's thrown some stuff at the audience, you know, in the time that I've been Lake George, and I've been going for 12 years, that, you know, these bands wouldn't even get a sniff from major festivals, but there they are, right out front, and people are eating it up, and they do it every single year, and I'm looking at the bill this year. I know they're going to be eating again.
Now you're a writer, so
Right.
you know there's a real basis here for what Jay's talking about. And you're also going to be at the festival announcing.
No,
Okay.
I am a radio announcer.
Yes, right.
You know, I'm the host of Jazz 2K at the Saint on WVCR in Albany at 88.3. But I'm going to be up there as a writer and a correspondent for Nippertown.com.
Got it.
And how I found out about Lake George was, you know, as a writer covering it for AlbanyJazz.com in 2005. And I just fell in love with the vibe. I fell in love with the scene of Shepherd Park. I call it the happiest place on earth, and it is. And I just loved what Paul had established as a jazz festival that thinks and lets you think.
Yeah, you know, this is anybody who likes jazz will tell you that what he just said is really important. When you learn or you think about the music that you're listening to, or you discover an artist and you can't wait to tell your friends that you saw this artist and that you heard this, there are life-changing moments. Some of the artists that he's talked about that will be at the festival, one of them saw John Coltrane way back, changed his life at that point.
Yes,
you know?
Dave Liebman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday night we are featuring Dave Liebman's big band and his homage to Coltrane. And Liebman heard Coltrane when he was 15 years old at the Vanguard, and it gave him the direction for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's really he's a jazz master. I mean, he's an acknowledged national treasure. And he's playing Coltrane charts. He plays the soprano sax as only Coltrane could play it. And the big band is tight. It's going to be an amazing evening.
You know what? I knew we would run out of time quickly. What's the website?
The website is Lake George Arts Project.
Oh, okay. Go to Lake George Arts Project website. We send people there a lot, actually.
Yes, and the jazz site will list everything, describe all the musicians.
But we've got some singers that'll rip your head off. We've got some players that are going to just do equally, do that, rip your head off as well, I guess.
And you'll enjoy it, too.
Yeah, and go to the website and learn about it. Now, it's tomorrow and Sunday. We're going to have beautiful weather. It's free. I can't believe this.
It's free.
And talking to them about how exceptional their thinking is in putting this weekend together, and then talk about the artists, and then you find out that it's free. So it kicks off 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Performances throughout early evening, and then the same thing for Sunday. So please go to the Lake George Arts Project website and you'll get all of the details. Jay, thank you very much for coming in. Paul, thank you for coming in. I can't wait. You'll see me out there.
Good. Good, Russ. Thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Okay,
You're
thank you.
welcome. You're quite welcome. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.